Hey everybody, it's Steve Lowell here. Welcome to our live stream for today. And I like to come on just a few minutes early and give people a chance to join us. And we're streaming over 3 platforms now. We're streaming over LinkedIn and simultaneously streaming on Facebook and on YouTube. And this is a new thing for us because we've been doing Facebook Lives now for 3-4 times a week for a number of months. And so we recently decided we were going to be streaming on LinkedIn. And so I want to tell you a little bit about how this technology works in case you're new to the streaming thing, because we've learned some things that might be of value to you. Now, this has nothing to do with our topic for today, but I want to give people a chance to join us on board for our topic, which is 4 things that you can do to basically disqualify your competition and get the business from your prospects. And we will get to that. But before we get to that, just to ramp up a little bit, if you're thinking of streaming or if you're new to streaming, here's what we've learned, and this might be of value to you. So we usually stream on Zoom because we use Zoom for everything. And so when we do Facebook Lives, we would always use Zoom. But when we got connected with LinkedIn to start streaming on LinkedIn, what we found is that we can actually schedule the streams in advance, which we hadn't found a way to do in Zoom. I'm not sure if you can. You might be able to, but we didn't find it. So we could schedule this in advance. And if you've been following us for the last couple of weeks, you'll notice that we put the stream up sometimes a few hours before, sometimes 2 or 3 days before the stream actually happens. And in order to do that, there's only a few streaming applications that will allow that. And one of them is StreamYard. So we use StreamYard now to stream these events in LinkedIn and Facebook and in YouTube, only because LinkedIn or StreamYard allows us to schedule in advance, where Zoom doesn't appear to. Now, the reality is I much prefer Zoom. I find Zoom has a lot of great features that StreamYard, as good as StreamYard is, StreamYard just doesn't have. The other thing is, and this is a little bit more advanced, and some of you out there I know are using OBS, which is an open source software, so that you could do things like flash a logo, put up a clock, and easily switch frames and all those things. I use something called Mimo Live, which is much more advanced and robust than OBS. Now, you pay for it. It's a little bit pricey. But one of the drawbacks to StreamYard is that I can't always get Mimo Live to work like today. So I have to do things a little bit differently. Now, obviously, this has nothing to do with our topic today. This is just sort of some random banter to let people come on board. But I know we get a lot of questions from people about how are you doing that streaming? What technology do you use and how does it work? So I just thought I would offer this for a little bit of general information for any of you there who are thinking of streaming or are looking for options. So just to reiterate, with these streams, I'm streaming through StreamYard. I'm streaming simultaneously to LinkedIn, to Facebook, and to YouTube. And I'm using StreamYard because it allows me to book and schedule in advance. So that's our little technical review for the day. I hope some of you found that of value. Listen, welcome to our stream. We're so glad to have you with us. Here we are live in our beautiful Wing Global studio, which is really an extra bedroom in our house. And we've set up this cool background, and we have a number of backgrounds depending on what we're streaming. And we've got monitors set up and all the technology here. And we do most of our live events from this room in our home studio in Ottawa. So today's session is about 4 things that you can do to eliminate or disqualify your competition. So there are 4 specific things that I'm going to share with you. And if you learn how to do these 4 things, you're going to find a profound and permanent change in your results. Now, I want to tell you a little story. Many years ago, I'm going to say 15 years ago, maybe, I was speaking at an event in Toronto, and I had 40 minutes to do my presentation. Now, in my 40 minutes, I had an objective. The objective was I'm going to give them the information, and then I want them to go to the back of the room and buy my stuff, buy a course that I was selling at the back of the room. So I had it all laid out and I had it planned for 40 minutes. Now, my session was right after lunch, and which is usually a pretty good time to speak if the organizers have some event going on, a short attracting event before you, so to get people back. So if your event is having lunch from, let's say, from noon to 1, right? And you're speaking 1, that's a crappy time because people are still out there. But if your lunch is from noon to 1 and then the organizer has something to bring people back and then you start at 1:15, then that could be a good time. So this is what the organizer did. She built in 15 minutes after lunch to get people back for my presentation, which worked out really well. Well, it was supposed to work out really well. So what happened is after lunch, the organizer came to me and she said, Steve, I've got 3 ladies here who want to give live testimonials about their membership in this organization. And she said, it's going to take up 5 minutes total. That's it. Can you cut your presentation by 5 minutes? I said, of course, no problem. Because I'm smart enough to know when the organizer comes up and says, we have live testimonials, you give them that opportunity. So no problem. I'm from 45 minutes to 35. That's easy. No problem. So what happens is this. Each of the ladies get up individually and they do their own testimonials, and it took 15 minutes. They took about 5 minutes each. So now my 40 or 45 minutes, I'm down to, I figure I've got about 25 or 30 minutes that I can do my presentation. No problem. That should be fine. And then what happens is the MC gets up, and because they welcome the MC back to start off the afternoon. And the MC goes into a story and goes into some jokes and goes into some monologue. And I'm looking at my clock and I'm thinking, I'm down to 20 minutes here. Now, my time is pretty much cut in half. Now, in the professional speaking world, the golden rule is that you never, ever, ever go even 1 minute or even 1 second over your time. That's the golden rule. Not all speakers abide by that, but they should. And I can tell you this, if you're a professional speaker and you speak at an event and you go over time, even by a single minute, then what that could do is that could be the very last time you ever speak for that organization. Because what happens is, they have a schedule, right? And so if you go over time, it throws everybody else off. And I know that. So I know that I have my scheduled time until about 2 o'clock at the top of the hour. And so I'm not going past 2 o'clock. So as my time gets chipped away, my time is reducing. So now the MC gets on and does the monologue, and I'm down to, I have about 20 minutes. Okay, I was planned for 40. I can do it in 20. But what I'm thinking of is, can I do it in 20 and be powerful enough to still get people to go and buy my stuff? So the MC is finally starting to introduce me. And our speaker today is, and he starts going through my introduction. And just as the MC starts the introduction, there is this awful buzz going out over the whole audience. And it's like enough to cover your ears. It's really loud. And nobody knows what it is. It buzzes for a second and then stops. So everybody laughed, and the MC makes a quick joke, and he just goes back into my introduction, and it starts again. It buzzes again, just for a couple of seconds. And it does it 3 times. And we're thinking, what on earth is that? Then what happens is a lady from the front row of the audience, she walks up to the stage. And what had happened was she had taken her phone, she had plugged it into an electrical outlet and set it on the base of the lectern. And the MC was using a microphone that came up from the lectern, and she was getting a phone call, and her phone was buzzing, and it was going through the entire microphone. So, of course, everybody had a big laugh about that. And so now, by the time I hit the stage, I have less than 15 minutes out of my 40 minutes. So I'm a professional. So I said to myself, okay. So I do the 15 minutes. I adjust things, and I can do that. I adjust things. So I do my 15 minutes. Now, at the very end of my presentation, I do a call for action. the call for action or the call to action is I want people to go back to the back of the room, and I'm going to meet them at my table and they're going to buy my stuff. Okay. So what happens is, and the organizer had planned this. She had planned that after my presentation, right at the top of the hour, there would be a couple of minutes there where people would then go to breakout rooms. And so there was a period of time that there was supposed to be a little bit of general interaction. That was to give people time to come back and see my table. So I make the call to action. I say, I'll see you at the back table and I'll meet you there. And I get off the stage and I go right to the back table. And it was the first time ever that I received every professional speaker's dream. Every speaker who sells something dreams of what we call a table rush. And a table rush is when people get up out of their seats and they run to the back to buy your stuff. And so I'm running to the back table because there's people lining up to buy my stuff. And I'm thinking, this is awesome. And I just get to my table and the announcement comes on. Ladies and gentlemen, the breakouts will begin in 60 seconds. Please find your seats. And like scared children, everybody in the room took off. They ran out into the halls because they didn't want to miss their breakouts and hours. There was nobody left in the room. And I sold nothing because once they get involved in their day, they don't really come back. And I think over a course of time, I sold maybe 2 or 3. But I wanted to tell you that story because so often as coaches, as experts, as consultants, we get asked to speak, right? And we need to know how to take our content and be flexible with it depending on the amount of time that we're given because it will change. Now, does that have anything to do with our topic today? It kind of does, because I want to talk about 4 things that you can do to eliminate or to disqualify your competition. And in that short time, in that 15 minutes that I had, I accomplished these 4 things, which drove people straight to my table. Even though all the other stuff happened, there's 4 different things that I accomplished in that 15 minutes that made people go to my table and want to talk to me. And I want to talk to you about what those 4 things are. Now, a couple of weeks ago, when we had our first LinkedIn Live, we talked about differentiators. And I want to review very, very quickly because there's a lot of confusion about what you can do to disqualify the competition and what does not disqualify the competition. So before we get into how you disqualify your competition, I want to review how you don't disqualify the competition. So there are specific things that some of us believe disqualify our competition. And so let's review those very quickly. So I'm calling these competition disqualifiers because many of us think that these are disqualifiers. And the first one is our experience. We often think that if I can tell the prospect about my amazing experience, that will disqualify the competition and they're going to want to buy from me. But as we saw a couple of weeks ago, if you were with us, this is not a disqualifier. This does not disqualify your competition. It doesn't even make you appear to be different because you're sounding exactly like everybody else who claims to have amazing experience. The second one that we talked about was your education or your training. If you've got the PhD or the certification and you've got some training and the education, we often think that is going to put us up front and disqualify the competition, but it really doesn't. All of that does is make you sound the same as all your competitors who are claiming to have the education or the training. And then the third one we talked about is I've been there myself. I have lived it myself. I've been there myself. And so that makes me different and that disqualifies the competition. But what we saw a few weeks ago is that does not disqualify the competition because your competition is also claiming to have been there themselves. And then the fourth one we saw was unique solution. And this is one of the biggest ones that we see that people think make them stand out above the competition and disqualify the competition, but it really doesn't because your competition also has a unique solution. There are 5 secrets, there are 4 pillars, there are secret strategies, whatever. So these things alone do not disqualify your competition. And guess what? Neither does this one. This one comes up a lot too. Well, I give superior service. I give outstanding service. And what we found is that is not a disqualifier. Those are nice features and benefits, but they are not disqualifiers. They are not going to make you appear to be different from your competition. So the question then is, if those things aren't going to do it, if my experience and my education and my solution and the fact that I've been there, and if my quality of service, if all of those things don't disqualify the competition, then the question is, obviously, what does disqualify the competition? So what I found in 30 years of training coaches, speakers, consultants, and experts and thought leaders all around the world, I found that so many really struggle to really disqualify the competition and become the one. And so I've been paying a lot of attention to this, and I've found that there are 4 things. So let me share with you what those 4 things are. We're going to go through each one, and we'll talk about each one. And these are them. The first thing is this: if you want to disqualify your competition, you need to demonstrate a superior understanding of your prospect's world. So what does that mean? What it means is that when you are in a sales situation or a presentation situation, you need to get that prospect or that audience to think something like this. They need to kind of go, okay, and no one's ever said it like that before. And you get their attention by demonstrating a superior understanding of their situation. And so the way you do that is by using something that I call expert insights. And expert insights is this body of wisdom or knowledge that comes from within you that nobody else has. And this is what we do, is we help people craft, find, and create and deliver their expert insights. So the first thing that we need to be able to do in order to disqualify the competition is we need to be able to demonstrate a superior understanding of the markets or your prospects' situation, of their world, of their business. The second thing we need to do is we need to be able to offer what I call as a unique perspective. A unique perspective on their condition or on their problem or on their situation or on their business, because what you're looking for is you want your audience to kind of think, or your prospect to think this: I've never really thought of it that way before. And what you're doing is you're changing the way they think a little bit, right? And so if you offer a unique perspective on the situation, on their problem, on their market, on their condition, on their world, it raises their eyebrows. And all of a sudden, what's beginning to happen is you are sort of rising up just a little bit in credibility above your competition, because all the rest of your competition is talking about, how long they've been in the business and their expertise and their training and their credentials and their unique solution, and they've been there before and their level of service. They're talking about all of that, but you're not. You're talking about, look, this is a specific understanding, unique understanding I have, and a unique perspective I have that I'm offering you. And what you're doing now is you're taking your prospect's brain out of the competitive, comparing thing, and getting their brain into going, what is this one? I haven't heard it quite like that before. So the first 2 steps in eliminating the competition or disqualifying I don't like to use the word eliminate, because you're not out there, taking them out of out of commission. Well, what you are doing is you're disqualifying them from the event, right? Disqualifying them from the transaction. So the first 2 things that we need to be able to do to disqualify the competition is, number 1 is offer a superior understanding of the market or of their situation. And number 2 is offer a unique perspective. And then the next thing is we need to focus on the cause. There's this whole misunderstanding in the sales world that says, provide a solution. Find out what they need or what they want, and then sell them what they need, and because you're focused on the solution. And there is some truth to that. Yes, there is a time for the solution. There is a time when you have to sell them a solution, for sure. But during the sales process, all of your competitors, they're all focused on the solution. They're all saying, what's your problem? I can solve it. Tell me your problem. Yes, I can solve it. I have something for that. I have a fix for that. I can remedy that. I can solve that. And that's the way that your competition is thinking about in terms of selling. But what we want to do is we want to focus on the cause. So if we can help the prospect or our audience understand the cause of the problem that they're having, what it does now is, again, it puts us in a higher level of expertise. We start standing out because your prospect isn't feeling the pressure of comparison, right? They don't feel the pressure to have to go out there and compare to everybody else that they have spoken to. And so when you can do these first three things, right, is you provide a superior understanding. Number two is you provide a unique perspective. And then number three is focus on the cause. You're really starting to elevate your presence in the mind of that prospect. So let's go to the fourth piece that allows you to disqualify your competition. And the fourth one is to change your prospect's perspective. You need to change the way they think about something, about their problem. So if you can change their perspective, they start thinking, I've never thought of it like that before. She's right. I need to stop looking at these other things and start looking at this. So follow along with me here. I'll go back to the slide. Follow along with me here through these four things, and I'll guide you through the prospect's thinking as we go through these things. So provide a superior understanding. We want your prospect to be thinking, okay, this person seems to know a little bit more than the others. Unique perspective. Provide a unique perspective. You want them to go, I've never thought of it that way before. Focus on the cause, because you want them to be thinking, yeah, no wonder I have the problem. No wonder I haven't been able to achieve my goals. I get it now. And then you want to change their perspective, and you want your prospect to be thinking, maybe I should take this new direction, or maybe I should look at it a different way. So when you can do these four things do something very important for you, and that is they put you in a position of authority. So what does that mean? It means that you are more than just an expert. You see, my belief is this, that there's a lot of people out there that can claim expertise legitimately, right? So people who have been educated can claim expertise because they've learned it. People who are experienced can claim expertise because they've done it. And so this is how you generate expertise. But a lot of your competition can claim expertise because they've learned about it, studied about it, been trained in it, or done it, or all of those. But to me, an authority is a little bit different. An authority is somebody who basically created it or designed it. And that's why, if you can demonstrate a superior understanding, if you can provide a unique perspective, if you can help them focus on the cause of the problem rather than the solution of the problem, and if you change their own perspective, what happens is you position yourself in their mind as an authority. And when you position as an authority, now that means that you have a different role in their world than the rest of your competition. Now, I want to show you the power of this and how important this can be. I was presenting a couple of years ago here in Ottawa, Canada, and Jack Canfield was there, and he was in the front row. And many of you know who Jack Canfield is. Jack is the co-author of the Chicken Soup for the Soul series and author of the Success Principles. And he was there, and he was in the audience. So I did my presentation about the Repumeter. Many of you have seen that. That presentation, that whole concept does these things. It provides this perception that I have a superior understanding of the market's world, of their condition. It provided a unique perspective that is just mine. I did that right on the stage. I focus on the cause of the problem. I didn't offer any solutions. I didn't solve any problems, but I helped the audience understand the cause of the problem, and I caused the audience to think a little bit differently. So I'm watching Jack as I'm presenting, and he's taking notes, and he's very attentive. And then what happened is, after the presentation, I go into the room for lunch, and it was, we got to sit at the table with Jack, or the speakers did. So I walked in. I was a little bit late getting in there because some people wanted to talk to me. And as I walked up to the table, Jack Canfield looked at me and he goes, "Steve," he said, "that was a master class in how to give a speech." So I went like this. I said, "Jack, wait." I said, "Jack, if I pull out my phone, and would you videotape that and say that again?" He said, "Absolutely." So I pressed record on my phone, and this is the testimonial I got from Jack Canfield. I'm going to try this. The first time I've played a video here on StreamYard. I hope this works. So let's see. Here we go.
Hi, I'm Jack Canfield. You probably know me as the co-creator of the Chicken Soup for the Soul series, in the movie The Secret and all that good stuff. I just heard Steve Lowell speak, and I sat there, and he came up to me at lunch, and I said, "That was a master class in how to give a speech." That was one of the most brilliant presentations of authenticity, of power, of clarity, of owning who you are, being it fully, and being of such value, such clarity in understanding who we are, what we have to offer. I just, high five, Steve. If you're thinking of working with him, run, don't walk. It's going to be an amazing experience, I promise you.
So can you imagine how valuable that testimonial is to me and to us and to our business with my wife, Jane? Highly valuable. And all of that happened in that presentation, was that I did those things. But if I summarize for you exactly what happened there, I'm going to take the whole thing and put it into a single sentence, okay? If you can do these things when you're either presenting or speaking in front of an audience, this is what you need to be able to do, okay? You need to be able to demonstrate, not just talk about it, but you need to be able to demonstrate a unique understanding, okay, which is an understanding that nobody else has demonstrated. You need to be able to demonstrate a unique understanding of your prospect's condition. Now, what does condition means? It means whatever they're experiencing, the problems they're experiencing, the challenges they're experiencing, whatever it is in their world, you need to be able to demonstrate a unique understanding of their situation. But it needs to be from a perspective they have never considered before. So let me read that again, and you might want to write this down, because this is the summary of the 4 keys to disqualifying your competition. You need to demonstrate a unique understanding of your prospect's condition from a perspective they have never considered before. That's the secret. And if you can do that, then what's going to happen for you is you are going to position yourself in a place of authority, and you can virtually and almost definitely disqualify your competition from the whole process. And that's what we found, and this is what we teach people all over the world. Now, if you want to really learn how to elevate your sales, and part of that is by disqualifying your competition, but if you want to learn an entire process that not only positions you as the authority and positions you to be the only logical choice, but also provides you with a step-by-step system to increase your sales, we have something for you, and I want you to take a look at this. There's an event coming up that we call the Perfect Sales System Intensive. The Perfect Sales System is a compilation of everything that we do, everything we've been doing to bring our business global and breach that big 7-figure barrier and do all those cool things that Jane and I have been doing together. And we've put them all together, and we call it the Perfect Sales System. So the intensive is really just a 2-hour high-intensity training program on August 30th. And it's from 10 a.m. to noon, Eastern Daylight Time. Okay. And now, if you want information about that, you can go to stevelowell.com/events. But I'm also going to give you a chance to type something in the chat window if it's something you want to explore. But here is what this event it's about. It's about you discovering the keys to unlocking the perfect sales system to get your business off to the races. And you'll notice that RACES is an acronym. The RACES is an acronym for the elements of the perfect sales system. And you're going to see that on August 30th. And to start driving sales. So this event, this virtual event, it's going to be on Zoom. This virtual experience is for you if sales is your number one priority. So let's take a look at what will happen for you in those 2 hours. And by the end of the event, now you're going to get 3 different secrets to help you really explode your sales. And you're going to discover all of those keys. But secret number 1 is how to ethically get more people to want to give more money to you instead of giving it to your competitors. Now, we've talked high level at some of those steps today, but in this program, you're going to really understand what needs to be accomplished in order for your prospects to give you more money rather than your competitors. Secret number 2 is you're going to be able to learn how to copy our entire sales strategy and make it yours. So some people are going to watch what we do and they might be thinking, man, that is really complicated. And so what we're going to do is give you the opportunity to copy our entire strategy and make it your very own and put it into place in your world. And then secret number 3 is how do you make money right away? No matter how busy you are with other things, because oftentimes what we'll hear is, Steve, I'm working on my book. I'm going to finish my training program I'm in. I'm going to update my website, and then I'll learn this system. But we're going to show you how you can start generating revenue right away, even though you're busy with other things. And in fact, what it does is it leverages those other things. If you're working on your website, we'll show you how to take what you're learning in this program and make money with it. If you're writing a book, we're going to show you how to take what you're learning in this program and make money with it. And so you're going to get all of that. So, and a whole lot more. So we call it the Perfect Sales System Intensive. It's $179. It's on August 30th at 10 a.m. So if you are interested, if you want to find out more, you can go to stevelowell.com/events, or just type the word interested in the chat window. Whether you're watching us live today or if you are watching a recording, type the word interested. And what we'll do is we'll follow up with you and answer any questions that you might have. So that is the Perfect Sales System on August 30th. It's going to be a really high-powered 2 hours, and you're going to walk away with tremendous value. So listen, that's a wrap for today. I hope you found this of value. Hope you found it useful. We sure love doing these things. And we've got 2 more of these sessions coming up this week. So watch for the notices on LinkedIn, on Facebook, and on YouTube. And join us because we're committed to delivering value to you. And we hope to see you at our next live event, streamed event. And we hope to see you at the Perfect Sales System Intensive. I'm Steve Lowell, and that's a wrap for today. Have a great rest of your day.